Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh, and today I want to talk about some LEGO games and basically my history on LEGO games and their experiences. So, you know, for a decade or more, the LEGO games were a very common occurrence. They were like an Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty, to where they would come out every year, sometimes multiple times a year, in fact, and they were always present, always great experiences. They're pretty samey, unfortunately, a lot of the time, but the core gameplay, sure, would be pretty similar from game to game, but like the outer shell, the movies you were playing through, the world you were exploring, that was the big selling point for these games. You know, I got attached to these way back when I played Lego Star Wars 2, the original trilogy, and I was hooked. Ever since then, I went back and played the original. Got the complete saga, quote unquote, back when that came out, and ever since then, just stuck with it. Indiana Jones 2. The crazy thing about those kind of things is I played Lego Star Wars before I saw all the Star Wars movies. I played Lego Indiana Jones before having seen any Indiana Jones movies. Same thing I did with the Lego Harry Potter game. These were gateways into me becoming a film fan, and I'm very appreciative of those. Sure, I stopped that trend later because I hadn't seen Lord of the Rings yet before the game came out, so I just didn't play the game. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna do it myself like that again, and so I waited to play Lego Lord of the Rings until I'd seen Lord of the Rings. Pirates of the Caribbean, same thing, and I ended up loving those games more because of the attached experience. What do you know? Playing through these movies that I liked or loved in some aspects would grant a better experience down the line than just playing through stories that I didn't really know what was going to happen next. But they have their merits both ways, and those older style Lego games, now they're older style, I have a very big fondness for. I think back on playing through, like I said, like Indiana Jones for the first time and not knowing what was going to happen next, not knowing what the next story beats were going to be, and then eventually going and watching the movies. Star Wars, same deal. An interesting one is like the Lego Batman games were their own stories. They were not tied directly into either the animated series or the movies. They did have some elements of them. So I was very confused as a kid because I played Lego Batman, and then Indiana Jones and Star Wars before it were very easily to go let's watch the movies, know exactly what the story beats were, know exactly who the characters were, and all that. The Batman game did not tie directly into the movies, but it was interesting because I watched Batman Returns, and then I'd be like, oh, Catwoman and the Penguin. Okay, that makes sense because I think the second chapter in Lego Batman were those two. The first one was Joker and Harley Quinn, but when I watched the '89 Batman movie, there wasn't Harley Quinn in it, so I was confused. And then it was the third part. I think the first part was Two-Face and Riddler, but that was Batman Returns. No, it wasn't Batman Returns. It was Batman Forever. Yeah, I'm getting my names mixed up, but I got it. Those tied in differently. It's all right, Two-Face and Riddler. Okay, I get it. But none of the rest of the movie made sense in how anything lined up. And then Batman and Robin, forget it. That had nothing to do with anything. So I was confused, but there's also Batman Begins and all this other stuff, like the '66 Batman movie. There's a lot to learn for a young man, but Lego games pushed me into that, and I think it might have done that for other people as well. Sure, more people probably play Lego Star Wars because they loved Star Wars, but I'm sure there were some kids like me who played Lego Star Wars and then became Star Wars fans after. I think it's a great way to introduce kids or sometimes adults into these franchises that have been around for a long time. I was such a fan of these games that I even had a whole list of ideas for Lego Pokemon to tie into the Pokemon movies. Pokemon, I think the first movie was the one I wrote down all the ideas for. I think Pokemon 3 included as well, because that was my favorite even then, to where I was writing down ideas for different characters and level designs and stuff, and I emailed it to Nintendo or somebody, a help desk, and I got a very nice email back saying we can't move forward for legal reasons, and I was like, okay. That was just the end of the idea. But now growing up, it's a lot of red tape. I can understand why, there's so many different like problems with what I was doing, like the Lego license, the Pokemon movie license, let alone that. Like it's so many things. But I was just a fan. I was such a big fan of these games that I wanted to see some of my favorite franchises turn into it. You know, I had ideas for like a Shrek one. Well, I still think that could work pretty well. There's enough characters, there's enough diversified ideas and level designs, so you can make a pretty good one. And I think the biggest thing with this whole like Lego game like drought, because we had the Skywalker Saga a little bit ago, and like last year we had like Lego 2K Drive. There's been other puzzle games that Legos have been doing, but it's not been that same level-based 3D platforming kind of thing to where you're playing through movies or different franchises that I hold so dear. Is like there are other movie franchises that haven't been touched on it yet, and I think that there are plenty of ideas still out there. I loved the Lego Marvel superheroes. I thought it was a ton of fun. I feel like it's one of the best Lego games, like having just a ton of iconic Marvel characters not tied directly into the movies, but then Lego Avengers ties directly into the movies and plays with that world a little bit more. Lego Marvel 2, which is technically 3, but Avengers isn't part of the trilogy, I guess, goes wackier with more comic book stuff, and it's a good idea. Batman does kind of the same thing. Then it has Lego DC Super Villains was a really good one as well, one of the later ones. There's just a ton of these games, and there's even some that I still haven't touched on or played yet. I haven't played the Hobbit one. I haven't played Harry Potter 2 or 5 through 7, I think is what it's called, mostly because I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. And then Incredibles is the big one that I still really want to play, but I'm like savoring it because we don't get these games very often anymore. So I'm waiting until I really want to delve in and play Lego Incredibles. Yeah, like I said, these games were consistent up until like 2019, where the Lego Movie 2 video game came out, and I don't think it was very well received. I don't think it sold very well, and I don't know if that's what put a big halt on everything, or if they're just like, we're out of ideas, we want to take a little bit of a break, and then of course the pandemic hit, and that caused a big issue. But we waited a long time for the Skywalker Saga, and it was great to be back in a Lego game. It felt a little bit different. There were some critiques I had about the game that I wish were done a little bit differently, like the open world aspect of Lego games is a big deal to me now, more than it was as a kid, because back then we just had like Mos Eisley Cantina. It was like this little area you can run around. Even then it was a ton of fun, and we're expanded out in Lego Batman 2 into an entire open world with Gotham City. Ever since then, it's been open world centric, and I love it. I love open world games. I always have, so it's been a big plus to me to have these big worlds to explore, mostly of franchises that I love, and then see locales that I care about, characters I care about. I just miss it. I don't know if we're ever going to get back to that routine of like multiple of these a year. I don't know if that was really hard on the developers. I have no idea what TT Games have been up to. I'm hoping that they're cooking up another one. Maybe we'll see it soon. Maybe we announce soon, and I'll fall in love with another Lego game again, because just the hype cycle around Skywalker Saga was crazy, because it was like such a big drought in these, and it was just waiting. Hopefully there's new stuff on the horizon, whether it's a Batman thing or a Marvel thing or a Indiana Jones again. Like any of these could work really well, and I'm looking forward to it. So what are your experiences with Lego games? Do you love these? Do you hate them? I know some people got really tired of the formula, but I never really did. That'll about do it for me today. Thank you so very much for watching, and as always, like this if you like this, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you at some point.